Hello, 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 Chicago Bears fans. Welcome to the Bears Den podcast number 45. I am Andy, and we have a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We will be talking about the offensive line, defensive line, the Jack Sanborn no tender deal, and of course, the big trade today where we acquired Jonah Jackson. So if you're liking us, please follow us, subscribe to us, tell all your friends and family and fellow Chicago Bear fans all about us. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Please, if you're watching us, please don't be shy. Send us comments. We love comments and we love feedback. So let me introduce the stars of the show. The rock star Todd is in the house, and the mega star Chicago Clarence, the bad guy. So guys, how we feeling? Doing good? Well,
Can't complain. Cannot
Doing
complain.
good.
so Chicago Clarence, in case you missed the last show, just had a big birthday. He will not discuss his age. So we're just going to say he's still in his 20s.
Hey,
But in case you did not know, today is March 4th. They call it Sweetness Day because it's 3-4. It's a big day for me because, as I've said before, was my idol as a child, as a kid. I love this guy. He's the reason I'm a Chicago Bears fan. When I played football with the neighborhood kids, I always tried to do his little leg sweep. So happy Sweetness Day to everybody. You guys got anything you want to say about sweetness before we move on? Todd, Clarence?
best that ever did it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would put him on my team over any running back still today yet. So, guys, in case you did not hear the news, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, Jack Sanborn, we will not be tendering this young man. I personally think it's a mistake, but Todd, what are you thinking?
I think I don't. They're going to have a better idea of the dollars.
Yeah.
I think we were kind of hovering around 4 to 5, and they signed that kid out of Kansas City that had, I think, played in
Bozeman, Swayze
had like
Bozeman.
5 or 6 plays to his name. So maybe they think they have something there that they can do on a minimum and save, $4 or $5 million. That's the only thing I'm thinking with that. That we just lost another pick. I don't really think they're going to draft probably a linebacker, but I don't know. I don't work for the team, but I don't see it. I mean, they'll bring in some guys, and I don't know what we have in the practice squad now in the form of linebackers, but I think they have to probably think that this Bozeman kid probably has the inside shot at that.
Chicago Clarence, anything you want to say about Jack Sanborn? Should we have kept him? Tried to keep him? I mean, we didn't even try. We just flat out said we're not going to tender him.
I think that this has something to do with Dennis Allen um, being the defensive coordinator. Jack Sanborn is a good football player, really good against the run, but however, he sucks in pass coverage. And a lot of the things that Dennis Allen likes to do with his exotic blitzes and different looks, he needs or wants a middle linebacker who can drop back into coverage, and that's just not Sanborn's suit. And I think this is probably tied to money, but it's a lot tied to the type of middle linebacker that Dennis Allen is looking for his
Yeah.
defense.
I mean, I was shocked that we lost him. I mean, I thought he provides depth. Oh, where our boy Walker's on. Word up, gang. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, man. Don't forget, we'll be coming to Chicago in June. We definitely got to
Uh,
get together. Go
it's
ahead, Todd.
probably good news for Noah Sewell. It kind of opens up another spot there too. So because he kind of was on the bubble there, at least in my opinion. So I don't
Yeah.
know. He's
A lot of people thought he wasn't going to make the roster last year
yeah.
because he didn't play at all in preseason, and somehow he made the roster. Surprise, surprise to us.
Special teams.
Yeah. Yeah, so in other news, the bigger news is we made a trade today. We acquired Jonah Jackson for the 6th-round pick that we got in return for Justin Fields in the Pittsburgh Steelers deal. We discussed him briefly last week, and we all said it would be a no-go because he's injured quite a bit. In fact, according to Clay Harbor, he's injured more than Jenkins was injured. He's played
Well,
in 29 of the last 51 games, while Tevin did 39 of 51. But Todd, I'm thinking Tevin Jenkins is done. You can't
yeah.
have
Jake,
two guards
Jake,
that are injured all the time.
Yeah, Jenkins is done. This was his money. He'll probably get this much money or more anyway. For somebody taking a shot at him. But I mean, we talked about this. Seen that slide there with the whole miss more games. We did a quick little snap count look at it, and Jonah's been in the league one more year, so but the if you compare the snap count totals, it's almost 2 to 1 for Jonah Jackson over. He's played in just short of 4,965 snaps, and Tevin's played in 2,200 snaps. So you can take your game numbers and make those work all you want to, but it's just Tevin's biggest year was last year at 738 snaps, and prior to Jackson being hurt last year, the lowest snap total he had in the year was 798. So he was hurt last year. That was legit, and before that, his worst year was more snaps than Tevin ever did in a year. So, yeah, there's injury concerns, obviously, but I think that just based on what I'm seeing here, I think Jen Johnson probably was there when they drafted him.
Yes,
he's the player. We just have to trust on this, I guess, right, and see what happens.
Yeah, I guess we will find out. Chicago Clarence, what do you think on the Jonah Jackson trade? Essentially, it's 1 year, $9 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna. This is gonna be a prove it year. I'm I'm concerned about the games missed. He's going to be a more expensive option than Tevin Jenkins, and if we got the same problems, he's coming in with the same problems that we already have in Tevin Jenkins. What are we doing? Are you telling me that during game time he's that much more better of a player than Tevin Jenkins? I don't know. Like Todd said, we're just going to have to trust this one, because I'm not seeing this on the surface. We basically going to give up. I guess when you slice it, then you can just say that we traded Justin Fields for Jonah Jackson because we used the pick that we acquired from Pittsburgh to get him, 6th round pick. We're going to pay somewhere around $8-9 million this year. And if he ends up being great, then we can extend him, because I think after that we're talking around 17-18 million per year. So we would definitely have to extend him to get that cap figure down. But I think that this is a move that's just going to help them dictate what they're going to do in free agency leading up to the draft. If we can get that offensive line settled, then it can help us in what we want to do in the draft. I just hoping that this doesn't be another Band-Aid to the problem that Ryan Poles likes to address the offensive line every single year.
So Crooked Commish is joining us from TikTok. He just says, "What's up, guys?" And Guy Walker just said, "That's what you do if you're not going to pay Tevin. He's been in the system. He was playing center in LA. He's a guard." I think he's talking about
that was a failed experiment at center. Yeah, he's a guard.
Yeah, he is a guard. And Crooked Commish from TikTok said, "Is this Ryan Bates 2.0? Could be.
I'm hoping not. I definitely hope not.
Yeah, that's a good play. Could be. I mean, the only thing I don't like is we're trading one injured player for another injured player.
Yeah.
I don't think we had the way it looks. We were never going to re-sign Tevin at all. The way it looks
just seems to me, and I know that Jackson's had some injuries as far as this or that. It's like it seemed like Tevin had 5 things going on all the time, and he'd pop up on injury report. We wouldn't have a clue why. The bulk of the games that Jackson missed last year was for one concentrated thing. I know there were multiples, but not to the level of Tevin where he'd have 3 or 4 at a time, and you never knew whether he was going to play or not.
Yeah, and every game it seemed to be something different. Every game it seemed to be something different. Right. Every time you see him laying on the ground, you're like, "Oh shit, here he goes again. What's hurting now?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a ballsy move. I guess we got to trust our new head coach. He knows the guy. I mean,
that being said, I expect Tevin to get 10 from somebody. I think somebody will take a flyer on him. So
Tevin Jenkins is going to get paid. It's not like he has talent. He just can't stay on the field.
He should
He
get a
has
prove.
talent.
I can't see him getting more than a 1 year or 1 year fake year deal.
Prove it deal.
It has to be,
Yeah.
but it'll be expensive.
I mean, I mean, he's like I said, Tevin Jenkins has talent. He just could not stay on the field with us for 4 years.
Wait a minute. He showcased that talent coming out of college. We never really seen the guy in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, when we draft him, then we had to put him on the list because he had back issues that we were sitting there wondering like, where the hell was our medical staff when we were giving him a physical? How come we didn't know this? So we never seen that. I mean, everything that was written up about him, his pedigree and what, we never really saw it.
2021, his rookie season, he played 160 snaps. In 2022, he only played 576. So, I mean, Jackson, his rookie, he played over 1,000 snaps his rookie year. So it's just not there. I mean, he was just always out. But yeah, his rookie season was almost a wash.
Crooked Commish, we like you already. Thanks for joining us. This is one of Chicago Clarence's favorite sayings, but you did it reverse. But your best ability is availability. And I agree with that 100%. Chicago Clarence definitely says that. So we like you already. And he said just as bad drafting the kid from Yale last year.
Well,
oh my God, yeah. Yes. That was
he was coming in off an injury and was always developmental. The fact that he played any of this as a rookie was probably a mistake.
Yeah, I don't know why you wanted to try Borum or someone else there. He obviously was not ready to take the field when he took the field last year, but we're going to get into him.
I mean, the season was over by then, and we're just kind of seeing what we got and see if there was a spark there. And there wasn't, but, he's going to get some more time.
So this is our offensive line as it stands right now. These are the players we have under contract that should be back next year unless we cut them. We got Wright and Ryan Bates. He was our big trade last year. We gave up. He was a 5th rounder. He didn't even take the field last year. There we got Oh My God, we got McFadden. Then we have Clarence's favorite guy, Braxton Jones. We got Joshua Myers, Glazer, Stromberg, and Theo Benedict. I forget what nickname he had during the show on HBO with the eagle when he showed his Speedo with the eagle on it.
Yeah.
So right now we have Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones will be our tackles.
Right.
This kid is going to slide in at left guard. So we still do not have a center or a right guard.
Right.
So Todd, what do you think our offensive line is right now?
I mean, where is right? It's incomplete.
Yes,
we're
by a
missing
mile.
2 starters. So we're missing 2 starters, and our starting left tackle really should be a swing tackle. But I don't know that we're gonna. I don't know that that's a luxury we can afford this year, barring anything crazy. But I think the tackles are set.
I think so too. Unfortunately,
so I mean, everybody's screaming Drew Dahlman, and I guess that makes sense. I'm comfortable starting a rookie at guard potentially if it's the right rookie. If it's if it's one of the 4 or 5 guys here on this list that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'd rather not. I don't really want to start a rookie on the offensive line, but I didn't want to start 2. And there was a lot of projection on that we're going to be able to we're going to tie up everything. And I know Trey Smith's not available, but if you're spending all that money there, where you're going to start 2 rookies next to him, and I don't love that idea. So, Dahlman's,
he's out there.
He's benefiting from a very limited.
Yes,
he's from a very limited center available free agency period. I mean, there's just not another one out there.
No.
There's guys that project in the draft that would be as good, but that's probably too important a position to start a rookie at. I mean, that's pretty rare.
Chicago Clarence, what do you think of our offensive line besides us not having one yet? The players we have on their contract for next year, as of right now.
Man, listen. We need to go get the center from Atlanta. if we can get
Dolman.
it from the right
That's
price.
Dolman, yeah.
We don't
Yes.
need to back the bricks truck up to him, but we need to offer him, probably a little more than what market value is for him. I'm guessing. I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around. I mean, I think 13 million a year is the sweet spot. But some
Yeah.
people out there talk about 16, 17. I'm not, and I'm not
Yeah.
down with that. He's not all pro. That's all pro money. You don't we listen. We're desperate, but we
Yeah,
still
we
we,
are.
we still got to be careful with our money. But we need to remember that Braxton Jones is coming off a pretty bad injury.
Yes, he
He may
is.
not even be ready for the start of this season. We need to be
Mhm.
thinking about somebody at left tackle. And you already know I want Stanley.
Okay, so would you to bring in Stanley to move Braxton to a swing tackle? Would you re-sign Coleman Shelton for $4 or $5 million? Is that a smarter play?
I mean, if it meant getting Stanley, but
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
I
If we can,
think,
if you
but
can sign
I
Dahlman or Stanley, and
I
then you
think
end up
that
back with
no, but what I'm saying is because we didn't get a chance to get Smith, we were gonna throw the checkbook at him.
yeah,
We
right.
can go get Stanley, and we can still sign Doc Garman. We can get both of them because
We can, but we
at the end of
really
the
need to.
day, well, I mean, what I'm saying, then you turn around, your offensive line is set. Then you can start taking your picks, and you can address the defense.
What's Stanley's number? What are you comfortable paying him?
I'm thinking 2-year deal,
Yeah,
26-30 million, giving him around 18, 19 guaranteed.
yeah. I mean, it's probably 20, and Dahlman's probably 14 and not 13, but that's close enough.
Yeah, and I would do
Um,
that at that number. I would do it. I would give him
well, that
14 million,
that
and that's
frees us up to
overpaying him.
do
And that's
right.
overpaying him.
That frees us up to do best player available at 10 or I still like moving down if there's somebody at 10 worth taking,
Yeah,
with somebody interested in moving for, I'd like to get, closer to 17, 18 than
So that's
at
just a
10.
short list of the free agents
I,
available right now.
I'm scared to death of Will Fries. I think Becton really benefited being in Philly. Makari's hurt a lot. Cam Robinson is just okay. James Daniels played for us. You have Makari
don't
on
Yeah.
the
want no
twice.
part of him.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's Dahlman and it's Ronnie Stanley, but Stanley's had injury. I mean, Sheriff for a year. I guess you could do that. Zeitler I'd do a 2-year deal on Zeitler for 8,
We're
something
already
like
we're already
that.
being
Yeah,
tied to Zeitler because of
yeah,
Ben Johnson
because
in
of
Detroit.
because of that, and that makes sense to me. And if
Yeah.
you can get him on a 220, that's guaranteed at at 16, something like that, then yeah, let's do that. So, but I mean, I think if you can do that, then if you have to save money, you could always go back to Coleman and Shelton at like 4.5, 5 million, something like that, and spend that extra money at Ronnie Stanley.
What about
if
Ryan
that's the way to
Kelly?
go.
What about Ryan Kelly, the center
Kelly's
for the Colts?
32. He was hurt a
Yeah.
lot last year. So, I mean, look, this is what free agency. I mean, Dahlman stands out there, but this
What
is what free
about-
agency is supposed to look like. Every one of these guys
Yeah.
have a wart for a reason, and you have to overpay for
What
it.
about the young center for the Panthers last year, Austin Colbert?
Yeah, just okay. Just
Yeah.
replacement value. I mean,
I mean, at this point, do you resign Shelton?
I mean, I don't like Shelton at
not
the center
yet,
position.
not yet.
I mean, I don't really think he did that good of a job. I mean, the line calls. I don't think that he was great at that.
Right.
There's too much pressure being able to come up the middle in Caleb
Yeah.
Williams' face. And as you guys know, when you're trying to run in between the tackles, your center position is very, very dire in that. And this guy got manhandled all the time.
It did.
So, the guy that's linked to us all the time is Will Campbell, and he's not
Yes.
a tackle. His arm length is terrible. His span is ridiculous. There's no way. But they were talking. I know, and I watch a lot of draft stuff, and there was some possibility of talking about kicking him inside to center with his, because I guess he calls all the lineups at LSU. Everybody raves about just how smart he is and understands all that. That's an interesting angle that I hadn't heard until in the last week or so. That and that kid Zabel is projecting in as center too, who played tackle at Boise State. We interviewed both of those guys during the combine. So I just, if it's the top two guys at center, maybe you start a rookie center that just because you were great at setting up the alignments and calling the plays, at LSU doesn't mean you're ready to do it in the NFL. So,
I mean, I would rather, if we were going to go that route, instead of kicking him to center, I'd rather just go ahead on and get Dahlman and put him there and let Campbell play guard and then kick him out the left tackle.
Yeah, but he's not going to kick out. There's other guys that are tackles that are going to kick inside to start just because they're going to be young and they have to learn. There's several guys that guy that took over for Simmons at OSU, Donovan. He's going to kick out. He's going to start at guard. There's several of those guys. Banks can kick to tackle. And he's probably there later if we can trade down. There's a way to, if we can get him around 20 and pick up an extra pick is what I'd love to do. You could put him at guard, and then he legitimately could take Braxton's job. But I'm looking for somebody who can do that now. And next year, all I got to do is get another guard because that's a whole lot easier. I can do that in the second or third round pretty easy. I'm not going to be able to fill in a starting left tackle as a rookie in the second or third round. I mean, we did it with Braxton, but we were terrible. It shouldn't have. That shouldn't have been the case.
Yeah. So, Clarence, would you resign any of our free agents right now? Coleman Shelton
Matt Pryor.
made $3 million.
I agree.
Matt Pryor's
Jenkins
the only
made
guy.
$2.
I
agree. Matt Pryor.
Anybody else calls me, I'm not answering the phone.
Matt Pryor
but
to me
I would
was
answer Matt Pryor's call.
Best offensive lineman last year by far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he saved our ass when Nate Davis pulled a Nate Davis. He saved our ass. I mean, where would this offensive line have been last year without Matt Pryor? So we got nothing out of Ryan Bates. We got nothing out of Borum. We got a fumble on the goal line from Doug Kramer. And they seemed to like Bill Murray knocked the actor. They gave him a shot before they went back to Davis, before they went to Borum, and then he got hurt. But Matt Pryor would be my first guard off the bench. An ideal situation, Matt Pryor would be my first guard off the bench. I would keep Ryan Bates for depth only because he can play both guards and center, but he would be a backup only. I would not go to him as a starter. He had a chance to start last year and he busted out.
I'd let Bates go.
I would too. I would definitely let Bates go.
So in other news, social media is going wild with this man, the return of the Mac attack. I mean, everywhere I look on social media, this picture is or some version of another picture. This man in a jersey. I mean, it's no secret we need a defensive end opposite Montez Sweat. So, Chicago Clarence, I'll let you kick off our defensive side of the football. Would you entertain the thought of bringing this man back? If he's interested, which supposedly he is, according to the world of social media, he's interested. Would you entertain it?
The price has got to be right.
Yeah.
I would not totally say no to it. He had a better year than anybody we had on our line, and that including Montez Sweat.
Right. No, he did.
So I would entertain it at the right price, but we're going to acquire our long-term solution at that position this offseason, whether it's in the draft, trade, free. I don't care what it is, but we need to address that defensive end position long-term. Now, to me, Khalil Mack is not the answer long-term. No. Well, I'm talking about this whole year. Somebody else needs to be coupled with him because I'm not putting him there and starting him the whole year. I'm thinking about bringing him off the bench or maybe letting them start and bringing and then drafting somebody and let that person come in, play Mac every 2 series and then play the rookie the 3rd series. Myles Garrett is not he's not even talking about getting a new contract. Cleveland is going to get to the point now to where they're going to get desperate. Right now, they got all the leverage. The longer they wait, they lose leverage. So it's conceivable that we could still make a trade there and for something and get Myles Garrett in here. And I'm totally down with that. So I mean, we still got options, and as long as we're addressing the offensive line the way we are right now, and not having to use those picks and get somebody in, our options are going to be much more plentiful on what we're going to do on that defensive line, which we all know needs attention.
So
Yeah,
Todd, here's the list. Do any of these names excite you? I mean, Khalil Mack to me is the best player on this list. I mean, you got Chase Young,
but yeah, I
Josh
mean,
Sweat, Marcus
I'm
Davenport.
guy, but he's going to be a $20 million guy.
Yeah.
So
Milton Williams at
and
defensive
Young with
tackle.
the Milton Williams, yeah. I think that if you can get Mack and use him as like a DPR, like a designated pass rusher, and you can play, 25, 30 snaps a game, and you can get him for, I don't know, 12, $13 million, it makes sense to draft somebody and then go that route. But I mean, if you're looking for somebody to sign, I guess Josh Sweat is probably the guy that's going to play the every down for you guy, or be your
He's going to be expensive though.
Your code defensive end one, but I think he'll get more money somewhere else. As bad as our offensive line is, we just have to spend the money there. So that's a good thing we got that Panthers pick. That really helps.
Chicago Clarence, any of those names excite you on the list?
Well,
besides Mack, obviously.
I was on Chase Young, but Chase Young just does not. He's not good against the run, and that's my only issue with him. To me, he'll be more of a DPR guy than Mack is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just younger, and he's trying to get paid, and I'm not feeling it, because you got to be there all game and all year. I mean, it wasn't not too long ago to where he had injury concerns and couldn't stay healthy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole time with the Commanders.
That's why he didn't. Yeah.
That's
why he didn't get his 5th year picked up. He was traded to San Francisco. What about defensive tackle? BJ Hill. I mean, that's not a bad player.
There's another guy.
Milton Williams is probably going to get paid because he had a hell of a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
His price tag.
There's another guy,
Go ahead,
too, that was hurt last year with the Raiders. That Malcolm Kuntz guy is going to get some money.
Oh, yes.
And he has a lot of potential, too. If you could get him, if he's not hitting them 20 numbers, he was out all last year, so it probably going to hurt him. If you get that guy in that 14 million range, I'd be interested in that. If he gets through the physicals and everything, because he's young and he showed promise. Anyway,
so my next question. So here's the roster right now for the Bears. That's who we have under contract next year: Sweat, Billings, Dexter, Pickens. Is there any chance he's on this team? Because he was a healthy scratch a lot last year. Is there any chance he doesn't make this team, or does? And Dominique Robinson, how is 15, this kid still on this? Maybe. How is Dominique Robinson still on our team?
I don't know. Just have to have a body, I guess.
And Austin
probably
Booker,
Pickens is not going to be.
And I'm hoping Austin Booker steps up big time. Chicago Clarence, any name on this list jump out to you? This is players under contract next year.
Anytime that you are a healthy scratch, your days should be numbered.
Which Dom and Pickens were.
When we don't want to play you, that should tell you a lot. And listen. How much money can we save if we go ahead on and cut him?
None. Dom makes 4 years, 3.9. That's less than $1 million a year. Pickens is at 4 years, 5.7. So that's a little more than $1 million a year.
That's just their rookie contract, is it not?
Yeah, they're on rookie deals.
But Ryan Poe swung for the fences, but the book came out on him when we was drafting him, and people were saying sometimes he just seems disinterested in playing. You could hardly tell he's there. So, I don't know, man. They were just digging for oil when they drafted him. There were other options we could have gotten when we drafted him. That was just a mistake. We should just cut our losses.
So how you guys think Dexter did this past year?
He took the step. I don't know that it was the step that he's gotten a lot of credit for it. I think he took maybe 3/4 of a step, but he got credit for a whole step. But it's the best we got there right now.
I mean, and that's saying something because what is our end game? Do we want to win the Super Bowl or not?
Yes.
And if the answer to that question is yes, then you have got to get better on that defensive line. Yes. Point blank, period. We need to stop messing around with this shit. This is not rocket science. You got a terrible offensive line. You got a suspect defensive line. If you want to win a Super Bowl, you have got to get better on both those areas. Point blank. Stop playing around with marginal players. And that's what we do. Zach Pinkins, Javon Dexter. The only person I'm even thinking about keeping is Billings and Sweat. Everybody else, we got to upgrade.
I mean, if you don't know how important the offensive line, defensive line is, watch the Super Bowl.
You definitely didn't watch the Super Bowl if you don't know how important that is.
Eagles just whipped Kansas City's ass in the trenches. That game was won and lost in the trenches, nowhere else. I mean, Mahomes threw interceptions, but he threw them because he was pressured.
He was under siege, but and then think about it. The last time he lost a Super Bowl, what happened in that game?
They were pressured.
He was on his back the whole time. When Tom Brady has lost Super Bowls, what happened? You're able to get pressure on him. And that's the name of the game. No matter how good your quarterback is, if you make him uncomfortable back there, he's only as good as the time he is allowed to throw. But if he's allowed to sit back there, any decent quarterback would pick your ass apart, other than the name being Mr. Trubisky. Because we all know it don't matter. You can give his ass all day. He's going to throw it to the wrong damn team.
Yeah, he'll pick you apart. He'll just miss his receiver by 10 feet.
I hate that bastard.
Oh Lord, we had to bring up Trubisky. We thought we would never hear that name again on our podcast, and here it is again. But no, I mean, we have got to fix the trenches. Let me ask you guys something. Free agency starts March 12th. Do you guys think Ryan Poles is going to go big or go home? I mean, he's been conservative every single year. He's never spent every penny. Mike McGlinchey, he was all in on him, and then it got too high. We switched to Nate Davis. Saquon Barkley, we know the story. It got too high. We pivoted to DeAndre Swift.
Seriously, I mean, the word is that we offered more. How much more would have we had to offer Saquon Barkley for him to say yeah? I mean, we got it. We weren't ready. I mean, Philly was right there. It made sense that if the money was even close, then that's what you do. We'd have to pay him $5 million a year more for him to even consider it. And even with McGlinchey, like we get all these guys. We weren't ready for that. Other teams were closer.
Yeah. Chicago clearance.
The way it is.
Do you think Ryan Poles is going to go big or go home this year in free agency? I mean, the last 2 years out the gate, we signed linebackers, which we didn't expect to sign, Edwards and Edmonds. Last year out the gate, we went with Swift and Byard out the gate. We weren't expecting that. So he's been kind of unpredictable at the start of free agency. So what are you expecting March 12th? Is he going to go big, go home, big announcement?
I'm going to tell you guys something.
Or is it going to go with something like a kicker or a punter?
I'm going to tell you guys something. And if you guys just sit there and think about it, you'll see that I'm right. And, I usually am right.
There you go. Another Chicago clearance saying, Casey, get that one on a T-shirt.
I am usually right. When is the last time you've seen us with two coordinators like we have right now?
Never.
Never. Now, Ben Johnson is the de facto coordinator. I don't care what you want to say about that. He's a de facto. He's going to be the guy calling the plays.
We didn't hire him to be.
We have never had an offensive play caller and a defensive play caller like what we have in this upcoming year. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because maybe the Chicago Bears is finally serious about getting this shit corrected. Because in the past, we can always point to their inability to do the right thing. And we were saying that, and I know people are tired of hearing it, but I'm going to shout it until the day I die. When we had Justin Fields, and Justin Fields went into his prove-it year, the year that we was trying to decide, because we knew that we was going to position ourselves to get the first overall pick. And we're either going to use it on Caleb Williams or we're going to use it to get a boatload of picks. And we decided to draft Caleb Williams. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because instead of going out there and getting Justin Fields, a proven guy that knew what he was doing on building offenses, building an offense around Justin Fields, and giving him somebody who had, the want to and the desire to call competent plays. We went out there and hired a defensive coach. So people say all the time we wasn't really serious about developing Justin Fields. Now we are finally serious about developing our quarterback. And if we are, and we serious about having a competent guy running the defense, then it tells me Ryan Poles has got to get the job done in this offseason. That's counting free agency, and that's counting the draft. We already feel like the move made today had Ben Johnson's fingerprints all over it, and I'm hoping so. But at the same time, there are other things that need to happen, and I'm very, very interested to see what's behind the scenes, because we know down at the combine is when all the deals are starting to get made. It just can't be announced yet for the tampering rule. But I'm just hoping to see that whatever move comes down the pipe, the first couple of that, it really makes sense, not like the last 2 years he did.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's to go big in free agency. I mean, I'm just going through a list of top-rated free agents, and the first two are already off the board under franchise tags. Javon Holland's 3, not interested in that. Chris Godwin's 4. We don't need a receiver. Matt comes in 5.
Yeah.
And DJ Reed's a corner. Amari Cooper 7. He's a receiver and he's old. I don't want that. Stanley comes in at 8. So I guess that's go big. Dahlman comes in at 26, and he's really the go big guy for us. And Josh Sweat is 10. So, I mean,
let me ask you guys something. Kansas City did not resign Trey Smith. Would this man have written him a check for 5 years, $105 million? Was the reports? You think he would have done it?
Yeah, and I think the Patriots would have been right there ready to do it too. So, and they have more money than we do. So,
bad guy, you think
they need tackles more
broke the bank for Trey Smith?
I think that they would have. Do I think that they should have? No, I don't. I think Kansas City did us a favor by franchising him and saved him from ourselves.
They still could trade him, though. They did this last year.
They could.
But if doing that, then that means they're going to ask for a lot, and some team's going to pay it. I don't want to be that team, because he's not the only need. Trey Smith is not the only piece that's keeping us from winning the Super Bowl. We've got other pieces.
Yeah, I don't think Trey Smith would have fixed the team. It would have helped, but him alone would not have fixed the team. So that's
why I wouldn't have wanted to give him $100 million.
Yeah, there were reports he was going to get $100 million. $105 million.
Well, he's 25, 26 years old. I mean, that he wasn't supposed to hit free agency. He was a 6th-round pick that they lucked out on. They've done that. I mean, that they chose wisely. Not that it looked. And so those guys aren't supposed to be there. Like the list you pulled up there. I mean, all those guys, they've got something wrong with them, or they wouldn't be on that list.
With the defensive guys.
The offensive guy, the offensive guys, when you're going through those lists of the offensive linemen, you're either at the end, I mean, or there's other problems there, otherwise,
Crooked Commish,
you don't make it a free agency.
Crooked Commish said he likes to trade even more if we can sign the center from Atlanta that we made today with Jackson. I don't know. I think Dahlman's the best center this year. He's not going to be cheap.
Right. No, it's probably 14.
Yeah. 13, 14 million.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to do something because we gave up more pressure right through the A gaps last year than we did on the edge.
And giving him $14 million won't upset me. But man, like I said before, I think we're still sleeping on that left tackle, man. And like I said, if they want to believe in Braxton Jones, fine. But at the same time, he may not be ready at the beginning of the season. What are you going to do? What's your backup plan?
It can't be oh my God, G.
Yeah, I mean,
we saw him last year. Let me look at so this is who we have under contract right now if we don't sign anybody. So I mean, we signed that kid from San Diego, McFadden. We signed Glazer this offseason, but I would expect them to be maybe they make the team as bench players at best. Role players. I can't see that we would plan on starting them. Yeah. I mean, right now we have no depth on that. We don't have an offensive line.
We still don't have a starting center, and we don't
And a
have a
guard.
starting right guard, and we don't have any depth. I mean, we need 10 guys. Right now, we've got what? We've got 4, really.
And that's why I said I would resign Pryor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, he's the only one I would resign. Would you try to bring back Shelton as a backup center?
No, I don't want to pay him $5 million as a backup. I'd rather draft a guy. There's some guys there that are projecting into center, and you really want to. I don't want to. Then I'm spending $20 million for 2 centers. I don't want to do that.
So here's our. We didn't go over this. Here's our defensive line, our free agents. Would any of you guys resign any of these guys? We got Cowart, made $1.1 million last year. Walker, we've already cut. Chris Williams, he was not that bad as a rotation guy.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Hardy, he was more of a special teams contributor. Jonathan Ford, we signed off Green Bay's practice squad last year and had to play him because of the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Clarence, would you bring back any of our free agents?
No.
I'd bring
other people. Other people are going to get cut that we can use and fill in.
Those are
for bench players, but there's really nobody on here that. I mean, if we cut DeMarcus Walker, and really and truly, if you cut him and keep anybody else on there, then what are you doing? Unless you're telling me DeMarcus Walker was just for solid reasons, but we didn't owe him that much.
Mm-hmm.
5. No. I think we saved 5.5 on that cut. So that's something. I mean, the other guys are all right at the minimum. You bring them into camp and see what happens. I mean, you might keep 1 or 2 on the practice squad. Hardy had moments
too.
Yeah, Hardy had moments. At least in preseason, he had some moments. For what that's worth.
So Crooked Commissioner says, like Ricky Waters used to say, for who? For what? Laugh out loud. And Daryl, Gangster Love, who watches us regularly, thank you for that. He likes to move because he knows the coach. The coach knows the player. Yeah, the move today was all about Ben Johnson. He knows that kid. So Todd, you want to send us into final thoughts? Whatever comes to your mind. Does it come to your mind?
Yeah, it's aggravating. I spent way too much time watching Combine, and my brain's a little rattled. So
I need to get your job.
Clear.
Get your job and work from home.
Yeah.
How do I get that?
My lack of job. Oh, you just you luck into it. That's all you do.
I think my employer would be upset if I had.
Well,
streaming.
You can catch it. They replay it 24/7. So, and I think it's all on the website too. But it was interesting. There's a lot of answers out there. Just you gotta pick the right people.
Yeah. So as always, thank you for watching us. Thank you for the comments. Please follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. My final thought is I'm just ready for March 12th. I can't wait to see who we sign. If Ryan Poles is going to break the bank or be conservative, I feel like he has got to fix his offensive line. I feel like Ben Johnson wouldn't come here if they already didn't have a plan in place with his offensive line, defensive line. So I expect him to swing pretty big. So Chicago Clarence, are you pissed off? Not pissed off? Blood pressure raised, not raised? How you feeling? What are your final thoughts?
Well, I don't want everybody to get so happy and be in love with this move today. It's just a move.
Yeah,
and
it is.
This dude is the same thing of what we're letting go already.
Yeah, it is.
This
it's actually less.
Yeah, this does not, blow my skirt up one bit.
It's actually less.
You go out there and you get Dahlman. Now we talking. Now we moving in the right direction, because that's what you have to do to excite me any little bit, because you still have not improved the offensive line by letting Tevin Jenkins go and signing Jonah. You have not.
No.
All you did was made a lateral move. So all the people out here in Chicago, all the mainstays, reporters and whatnot, trying to break this down and talk about how in love they were with this move, get over it. because this wasn't even nothing that significant. I mean, and you are the same people every year that get so excited about whatever move the Chicago Bears make, and then during the year after they fucking fail, you want to sit there and act like it's news. We wasn't surprised. I tried to tell you before. Start paying attention to the show if you want to get some knowledge, because I tell you all the time, I am usually right. So until you do something more significant to address our weaknesses, we are not going to be a better football team. And so far, the one big move that you have made is you have improved the person calling the plays. Yeah. We don't know what Ben Johnson is going to be as a head coach already, because he's got to do everything. But you have improved the person who has called the offensive plays, the offensive game planning and all of that. I'm with it, because it seems like he knows a lot better than what we have had before. Dennis Allen and Matt Eberflus, you know, I don't know who you would rather have as a defensive coordinator. They both are very capable. So show me something. You got another week when the free agency starts, and then I'll start, you know, letting you know if I'm going to get excited about whatever. But right now, we need a center. That should be our focus. We need a center.
Another guard.
Tackle. I think we need a center more than we need a guard right now.
Right. We can get away with drafting the guard if you're starting. That's I'm with you, Todd. If it's the right player, if it's the top 8 or 10 guard or tackle moving inside on this list, then I can live with one rookie, especially at guard.
But not at center.
I'd rather do that. No, I don't want a rookie at center at all. That's the thing. I mean, I think there's guys out there that are draftable at center that'll be good, but I don't want to start a rookie there. I you know, if Dahlman needs to move over to guard in 2 or 3 years, and then that kid slides into center, then do that. But yeah, I can't imagine starting 2 rookies on the offensive line. That's just a no-go.
Would any of you guys consider sliding Braxton Jones into guard and then drafting a left tackle?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would be excited. I'd give you my phone number if you did that. You know. Yeah.
They're saying Simmons is going to be ready for the season. He was at the combine. He didn't work out or anything, but he was there. It was all positive. He was moving around pretty good. That's a possibility. So, because I think had he not got hurt, he would be tackle 1 on this coming up in this draft. So, anyway, and true tackle 1 that's going to play left tackle.
Let me ask you something. This is all subject. A lot of mocks now are having Abdul Carter at number 1.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree or disagree? I mean, we're talking about a defensive end.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about a quarterback or wide receiver.
Well, and he has an injury problem. He didn't do anything. He's got a little concern too. But yeah,
he's got a foot problem.
I think
he's got stress fracture in his foot.
I mean, we're talking about him as number 1, though.
Yeah. I think the Giants maybe move up to 1 and take a quarterback, and I think Tennessee drops to 3 and hopes they can get him there. I think.
Which quarterback? Who you taking? If you were the decision maker for the New York Giants, keep in mind you just gave Saquon Barkley to your division rival, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. You look foolish. Who you taking?
Well, everybody's
saying a good year for quarterbacks.
Yeah, and everybody's saying that it's that kid out of Miami, the Cam kid out of Miami, and
higher ranked than
I've seen stuff in the last day or two that's. And I know you're a fan, but if Shedeur gets past the Raiders at 6, falling to the tail end of the first round. So, but it's all.
Why would, if you're Tennessee or you're Cleveland, why are you not taking a quarterback? Because Cleveland has to have a quarterback
because it looks like a decent quarterback year next year.
Yes,
and that's why I'm saying any deal with Garrett is for next year's 1, because that's more important to them than number 10 this year. I can tell you that, because they need 2 first-rounders to move up to get who they want to get next year.
Cleveland has no quarterback right now. Tennessee has no quarterback right now.
We're talking about 2 ones for the defensive end there, but I think they're more interested in our 1 next year, and the teams that are close, they're going to be picking so low that pick's not going to be worth anything in trade value to get up there. I mean, I don't know where our pick falls in, because then we're projecting where we're going to be, but I think ours is more valuable than Buffalo's.
And if they would rather have our one next year, I'd let them have it.
I mean, I'm thinking 1 in 41. Maybe that.
Yeah,
maybe,
I would do
maybe
that deal
does
in
the
a
deal.
heartbeat.
I don't want to give 2 ones, but
you
I
know
would
what's
do
interesting to me? When we start talking about the quarterbacks, and yes, I do believe that Shadur Sanders is that guy,
Mhm.
but it's very interesting how nobody's talking about Jackson Dart.
I know who that is.
Yeah, no, I mean there's been a little bit of talk of maybe just somebody getting into the tail end of the first just to get that 5th year, but in reality, I keep hearing late second, third. I mean, that's it's not good. This whole quarterback class is bad, but
it's not.
But yeah, I mean, and honestly, if you can get Myles Garrett, number wise money, you're going to spend more money on Josh Sweat on a contract right now as a free agent than you're going to spend on Myles Garrett. So, I don't know, 41 and next year's 1, I think is attractive. I don't think they have a better offer than that now for him. But
this would be the time to try to get Myles Garrett, because we've got 4 years left before we won't have to pay Caleb Williams.
I know. Yeah, I mean,
and this is the time to win now. You're going to have a 4-year window to win, because once you got to give that big contract to Caleb Williams, you're going to start losing good players. And our defense is getting older, guys. We got people pushing 30 now. This team is getting older, and we need to maximize our efforts and maximize these players' ages right now. We ain't got time to keep winning, having double-digit loss seasons.
Yeah,
we have got to start winning. We got to start winning now.
I don't know if they factor in, Garrett's, being involved in it, but I don't know how interested it is in us, because we're not right there. Like, if you could go
Detroit,
to,
I think Detroit.
If you could go to Detroit or go to Buffalo or go else, they're right
Detroit
there.
has the cap
he
space
makes
to
the
do
difference.
It. Yeah. The only thing that Detroit does not have is draft capital.
But he's so good. He's right at 20. Yeah. I mean, he's not a cap space problem. Yeah. He's as cheap as these guys we're going to sign next week. So anyway.
The only thing with Detroit is their draft picks are going to be so low.
Right. I mean, do you want Detroit's first this year and first next year? What are you going to do with pick 30 next year? If you're 10 and 30, is that going to move you up into the top 2 or 3 to get the quarterback you want? Probably not. But if you're 10 and we're 15, then you can't, So, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll all come together.
So, again, guys, happy Sweetness Day. So, March 12th, free agency begins. And we'll definitely have a show and discuss who we signed for how much money. I'm sure we'll have somebody to bitch about and somebody that, wow, we signed that guy for that amount.
Sure.
But until then, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the feedback. And as always, bear down. See you next time.